South Africa is in for big changes when it comes to visa regulations. This after Minister of Home Affairs Leon Schreiber gazetted reforms. Among others, the new regime will allow high-earning individuals employed overseas to spend their foreign currency in South Africa, contributing to the economy by paying value-added tax. For more on this, I'm joined by immigration lawyer Ashraf Essop. Ashraf, a very good afternoon to you. Thanks very much for your time. Is this as groundbreaking as it is being made out to be?
I think certainly. For one, South Africa is playing catch-up with the rest of the world, which has been quick to offer work visas for remote workers. Now, that's very important because we know the climate in Europe and now in the US is not always very friendly. We have the longest summers and we have a very temperate climate. Now, high income earners who are operating in the area of remote work of whatever kind would love to be spending time on the beach here, doing work for an overseas employer and still benefiting the Republic with all their through spend, whether it's in the form of rental or restaurant bills or transportation, etc. So I think there is a direct benefit for indirect work creation, and obviously, using your foreign income to be spent here. You're going to be spending it somewhere instead of New York, etc. You might as well spend it here. The second very important thing is to note that it's expensive to work overseas. So even if you're getting a baseline salary of, in the region of 970,000 or thereabout, which is the threshold, it might not be a lot in dollar terms, but certainly in rand terms, it is quite a bit. So I think, yes, that coupled with the points-based work system, points-based system now towards gearing towards work visas is also in line with the international practice. So I think, I think it's definitely a move in the right direction.
Do we have any sense or idea of how well this has worked in jurisdictions that have obviously been ahead of us on this one?
I don't know of any direct evidence, but if I look at the government gazette that the minister has gazetted, he says very clearly that he's consulted with the Immigration Advisory Board. Now, I was of the view I was under the impression that the Immigration Advisory Board had not been established. But clearly, from what I'm reading, he has consulted with an Immigration Advisory Board. He did call on the public, etc., some time ago to put forward their names and nominations. So it was very broad-based. I'm trusting that the Immigration Advisory Board has basically looked at all applicable systems and now have come to the conclusion that the best way for South Africa to secure economic growth and the valuable contribution of foreigners with skills, as well as those coming to work in the general work area, will be bringing these very important considerations to the table.
Do you know how long or why it took so long? I mean, this has been, the president has been speaking of this for years now, and I know that business has been really pushing, for this as well, among, of course, the many reforms that they've been saying are needed by the country. But do you have any insights as to what exactly was the delay? In other words, what did Minister Schreiber do to suddenly make this happen?
Well, historically, we know that the immigration reforms white paper was passed in 2017. We're in 2024. We also know that the Department of Home Affairs, for a very, very long time, was dysfunctional. Now, which fires do you put out first and what do you attend to first? That's a priority that the department has to decide under the minister. Why it took that long is probably along the lines that why does it take, or why has it taken so long to get so many other things done, like clearing the backlog of the applications for identity documents? That was achieved last week. Backlog of 200,000 plus was brought to zero. So I can't answer that. My guess is that there was a multiplicity of problems, which included, very slow a department with poor technology. But I can't really give you an accurate answer. I think only the ex-minister could probably shed light on this.
It is an indictment on Schreiber's predecessors, isn't it?
I think the facts speak for themselves. The man is hardly 101 days in office, and almost on a daily basis, you can see some or other matter being addressed. Now, let's take the ZEP. One of the sticking points was getting a SAQA report and other documents before you can get a work visa. Now, you'd appreciate that the ZEP was brought in to alleviate the great stress that was put on the asylum-seeking process because there were so many hundreds of applicants. And what was temporary, has now basically kind of morphed into semi-permanence. But those people trying to migrate out of ZEPs had to come with a number of documents to get into mainstream work visas. So the minister did two things. He said, no, look, let's just carry on with what was usual. You don't need a SAQA certificate until we can sort this matter out. Remember that the Helen Suzman Foundation took the ZEP decision on review. And I think the minister was still, the ex-minister was insistent on appealing it. Now, I'm just giving examples of what was achieved. The other one was the backlog of temporary residence visas. And he's now extended the directive to protect persons from being declared undesirable at the airport until December 2024. No doubt they'll re-examine that, but I think he's given a deadline that even those things will be attended to effectively in the next 12 weeks, bearing in mind the Republic starts closing down on the industrial side from 15 December onwards. So from whatever I'm seeing, he seems to be getting things right, and how is he doing it is really interesting.
Well, of course, the president was quick to add his voice, congratulating him, and here's the president's choice of words. These reforms remove bureaucratic headles. But this is a government that he presides over.
Yeah, it's like being a pilot in an aircraft. You can see to so many things, but you can't see to whether the Coke was loaded in the back fridge so that everyone could be served. I think the president has got an awful lot of things to do. In this case, whatever the reasons for the GNU, he seems to have picked, in this particular gentleman, a very able minister, but somebody who's come to the table with background experience. He was a researcher in how things should work optimally in government at Princeton University. He has a doctorate as well. But you can see that even in his interviews, he's enthusiastic about getting things done, motivating people, and looking after the economy. Whether this is indeed the right thing for us, the point-based system, and or not, only time will tell.
I understand that part. For highly skilled people. But unpack this line for me, maybe as a parting shot, where the president said or added that this will better protect existing jobs at the lower end of the labor market while injecting skills at the top.
Yeah, I think that's quite a balance. Let's look at the occupational critical skills, right? There's 48 critical skills missing in the Republic. In order to get a critical skills visa, if you're on the skill already, then you already earn the 100 points needed for a visa to be issued. Let's look at other qualifications. So basically, you need 100 points to qualify. But if you have a national qualification framework level 9 or 10, which is master's and doctorate, you get 50 points. Then if you earn above 976 and 194,000 rands per annum gross, you get another 50 points. So you can see that the points-based system is for high-income earners, so it protects those at the bottom. On the other points, if you have a NQF 7 and 8, you get 30 points. If you earn between 650, 796,000 and 976, 194, then you get only 20 points. If you have work experience of 10 years plus, well, then you get 30 points. So, you can see that what he's doing is really looking at proficiencies in an official South African language is 10. So, you can't really come with a European language proficiency and expect to be given a job under critical skills or general work visa. I think the intention was to craft a piece of legislation that will try and protect unskilled workers, because you can see the NQF level 7 and 8 even refers to not just your basic matric. You have to have something higher, at least a basic degree and a master's or honors. So yeah, I think that the way it is reading now seems to protect the lower end blue-collared workers, unskilled.
Well, of course, there's criteria that these people would have to meet. They're listed, but also, I guess, from reading from the fact that, business organizations, tourism industry have welcomed this move. It does promise to indeed do quite a lot for our country and for our economy. That's why we're going to leave it for now. Ashraf Essop, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it.